I'm shooting a documentary about Brigitte. Used to be a photographer myself, and I hate getting my picture taken. Like, I completely detest it. But when you do press for a film, you do it, and you know, maybe you get a nice pretty picture or something, but I felt that she was the first person that really captured me, you know, and I felt super relaxed, and I thought she cast a bit of a magic spell. And I thought, what did she do and how did she do that? And also because I'm very interested in photography myself, it's always, she kind of fascinates me. And I was looking at her eye and her strange pupil. You know, she's got a long kind of little, I don't know, there's just something about one of her eyes. I think it's her left eye. And I said, can I make a documentary about you? And so it kind of started from there, and then Visconti got in touch, and she said, would you like to do a short film for Miu Miu Women's Tales? And I was writing a script, so I didn't have any big idea, but I kept coming back to, you know, why don't we, you know, these clothes are amazing as well, and why don't we show I could do this documentary about Brigitte, I could start it and show the mechanics of the shoot, you know, and also cast real characters rather than models or actors. Yeah. Characters that I would cast in a film. Yeah. So it's super fun and a little bit experimental. So I designed a method of doing it that's a very fluid track, where we can go in for close-up, we can change things and we won't get in her way. But I think it looks very beautiful, and it shows you the mechanics of the whole space. So I don't care that you see the tracking shot or you see the booming shot. I want to show the artifice and then strip it back again, you know? So I'm finding it really super interesting. I've never done anything like this before. And then I felt quite emotional, and it came out of nowhere. And I think my dad had just died recently, or so, I don't know, but just something weird happened that I can't really explain, a kind of alchemy. And I think she really knows what she wants, you know, like she's really, which I really respect, and I kind of like to work that way too, where, you know, you're quite decisive, and I don't know, just it's a kind of spell she does. And I noticed with some of the people that were sitting that, you know, we've cast, and also my relations, that they've came out saying, oh, that was such a kind of interesting experience, like. Because normally I go very quite stiff in front of cameras. I want to be behind the camera. I don't want to be in front, you know. So it's kind of hard to define, but it's something, and that's the skill of a really great photographer. Yeah. I understand in this situation her process, her focus, her decisiveness, and her engagement, and how inside it she is, which I feel a kind of affinity towards as a filmmaker. Yeah. It's quite funny because we've had these non-binary like people in, and they didn't want to be defined. You know, they didn't want to be defined as a he or a she. It's still a very unfair playing field in many ways, but there's definitely some changes as well. But just personally speaking, you know, I just think, you know, if someone thought about me just like, oh, she's a female filmmaker, I'm like, I want to be a great filmmaker. I don't want to just be like a female filmmaker. I want to be a great filmmaker. I want to experiment. I want to do my best, you know what I mean? Like, I want to excel, you know? So, you know, like an athlete, it's all a kind of family affair, you know what I mean? Like, we photographed my friend Lucia Zucchetti, who's really, was very close to since I was at school, film school, and she's an editor, and I was studying cinematography, and I wrote a lot of short stories, and she completely encouraged me to, like, she's like, these are great, make them into a film, and she taught me everything about editing, and she's in the film, and the film's really about sisterhood and siblinghood. There's some really interesting people I've met through casting with Lucy Pardee, who is a really great friend actually, and my niece is in it, and then my nephew, and just about what is the definition of like sisterhood or siblinghood these days, and that felt like the right kind of thing for this short, you know, because you and Brigitte work very closely together, and it made me think about my own sister, and documentary is really interesting because it leads you to different places, you know? Like, I could continue this for a while. It could become a feature, you know? I love clothes, and I used to always, when I was a kid, wear, like, we didn't have a school uniform, so, like, I would, like, wrap things like bandages around my head to make a crazy headband, or do something like make things, and I love that, the kind of feeling of creation and the theatre of that. And you definitely see that with some of the characters in the film, you know. And I think the clothes are exciting because they have a kind of down-to-earth quality, a street quality, but they're also super elegant. You can just make your own thing look good, you know, with these clothes. And I wanted people in this film to interpret the clothes themselves, so they choose what they want. They do their own makeup. There's nothing to strip that art, to give them a voice in what they wore, and everyone, and you know, it's obviously a very strong collection because everyone's wanted to wear. I've not forced anyone to wear any clothes from Miu Miu, but everyone wants to wear them. And that's because they feel it's part of their style, and they can mix it with their own thing, if it's vintage or whatever. And you know, it's interesting looking at that backdrop too, you know, about, you know, you see the characters in the film, they've all got their own identity, they've all very much got their own style. Yeah.